Today we're discussing fans only, the human side of porn. My initial thought is congrats for getting it done, because I know how ridiculously difficult that can be. And the fact that you got it on Amazon is very impressive.
Wow, thank
Very
you so
impressive.
much. Yeah, I think it's a miracle that anything gets made.
Thank you.
Um, Knowing the work and the
Yeah.
time and the love that you've got to give to a project, the nurture of a project, and you've really got to love what you do. And for me, it was fabulous to work with people like Tommy, like Emma, Alexis Fox. We had wonderful people who were very willing to, go on that journey of helping to get the word out there that the industry, that there are great people, wonderful people, some of the best I've ever met, working in the industry, and this is all about putting it in a bright light, in a good perception, and everything I'd seen up until that point. On mainstream, it's either really bad, and I can only watch like 2 3 minutes of it, and then I think, oh God, where's this going? They make the stars to make them out to be unintelligent
Yes.
people, and they always put them in a dark. They want to seem to point out the negative about the industry and about the people doing it, and that's gone on and on. And I don't think until now have had a voice to answer back, and this is it. Felt that the stars are finding themselves defending their industry. So now they can go, just watch that. And it tells you the truth, and it dispels any myths and belief and misconceptions that I think 90% of the public have about the people that are working in the industry. You know, everything from whether it's safe, the treatment of people, um, you know, and it's just the complete opposite. I learned from interviewing the stars.
Now let's go back to the beginning. Had you watched adult material before you decided to do this project? Had you seen something that said, like, dude, I can do better than that? Had you known people from the business? How does this ball get rolling for you?
Apart from being one of the billions of people that watch these stars because they are stars. They're bigger than, more well known than mainstream actors and
Right.
actresses. But apart from that, no, it was when I turned up in 2024. I was in Las Vegas for a month in 2024. And at this time, I had released a documentary called Gypsy Billionaire. And Gypsy Billionaire went straight to #1 on Amazon Prime, and it was there for like 6 weeks. And at this time, I was in Las Vegas. I was working, and I accidentally found myself at the AVN Expo, accidentally by mistake. Oh my God, how did I find myself here? And I just went for the whole like, wow, let's see what's going on. Um, this is interesting. And I started walking around. Then I started speaking to the studios, and everybody was very welcoming because I had I said, this is what I do. I'm a documentary. You think there's something here? We could do something, and they're all very interested. All very interested. But then Universe put me next to Tommy Gunn. Like we were standing there in front of Jules Jordan's booth, and I saw him walk around, and I was like, I know that guy. Maybe he shops in the same supermarket as me. No. um, and Yeah, we were just standing next to each other, and we started speaking, and I was telling him about what I'm doing, and we started chatting. That turned into a 3 hour conversation. So we end up going to dinner with some producers in the industry. Bra
Yeah.
Bones, Mark
Yeah.
Kramer, who's in the documentary, was with us, and yeah, it was interesting, and I started to, just that was my kind of learning about, right, what is this industry all about. Um, and it wasn't until May when I went to XRCO, which I'm going back to this year because we started filming there last year. Uh, and it was the morning after, and Tommy and I met at a cafe, Mel's Diner on Sunset Strip, I
Exactly
think.
where it is.
And it's in the film. Actually, we were.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's very cool. Yeah.
But that's where Tommy said to me across the table, he's like, you know, we want to put the industry in a good light and give something back, as it were. Um, and I just that blew my mind. I was like, this has to be done. I think, and I ran with that idea that he would be the center point as he's a perfect ambassador for the industry. As I think Dan Miller said, he's everything that anybody would want to be in this industry. And he's been very consistent throughout his career. He's a pillar of strength in the
Right.
industry. And so we centered it around him. And then everyone else that we interviewed, we started making the interviews about the stigma and hearing their side. And I think it's just a perfect, um, uh, you know, idea or concept because it gives something the stars to get behind and share for their own benefit. And they do it for their own benefit. They're sharing on a mainstream platform. They're sharing with a mainstream audience and saying, "This is us. This is the truth." And so that's why we have the industry kind of behind us to really push this out and to make it a global phenomenon and change people's perceptions. Meeting Tommy, it all began. And, he's somebody who, first of all, I think he's somebody that you wouldn't assume. I think a lot of the performers are people that you wouldn't assume, you know, they're kind of people that you want to be friends with. They're great. And Tommy was absolutely charming and wonderful, and he's inspirational as well. The way he speaks is wonderful. That's why I got that bit at the end. I created that sequence where he speaks at the end.
No, that for me is a beautiful. That'd be a perfect mainstream piece. It's inspiring. Love the editing, love the cutting, love the shooting. It's very good representation just of people. The fact that it's adult too is a bonus to me because
The
part of
fact
the
that it's a
reason. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the fact that it's adult, that's what gets the attention of people. But at the end of the day, the attention of viewers. But these are people with human stories, feelings. And as Tommy says, I think at the end of it, he says, we all cry, we all bleed. Um, and, it doesn't matter where you come from or what job you do, we can all relate to each other. And that's the most powerful thing about the film, I feel, is that it's just, again, it's an inspirational film that is telling people it's okay. And I think hopefully it helps a lot of people within the industry that are feeling lonely.
You go to the first meeting. You're an outsider. How do you convince Tommy and Mark that you're legit and that you're not just another person looking to trash the business?
I did sense this kind of resistance to work with someone in mainstream because of what's happened in the past. I think it was meant to be. I think some things are, and obviously, they looked at my track record, and it was clear to see, you're number one on Amazon Prime with one of Amazon's top content creators. So that was certainly, um, but it was Tommy as well. Tommy was the one who pressed play. He's the one that you know made it happen. And whereas many others may fail, but you've got to go in there with love. And yeah, and because of Tommy, we got the girls involved and everybody to be interviewed because he's producer. He's like was producing it with me and speaking to everyone about it. And of course, Mark Kramer as well, reaching out to people to be a part of it, and he was wonderful in interview. The thing is that they've come so far, and James Bartlett, he said that people come in and they say they're going to be nice about the business, and then they end up just doing a 180 on us. And I think Mike Quasar, he said that we're all like, oh, okay, hello mainstream people, over here, over here, and then they do something bad on the business that's not true. They've been dealing with this for years, and they've never really spoken back until now, which is the best way to do it, which is killing with kindness. But now we've got this one, and they can see that we're the real deal, that we do what we promise. And that's what I always do. If I say I'm going to do something, I definitely do it. I do it because I love what I do and I believe in something. And now they can all see that this is something that is promoting their world and hopefully moving them ahead 20 years. I do think it's come quite significantly far over the past 20 years, especially with the rise of OnlyFans. And Sherry DeVille says in the film, with mainstream talking about OnlyFans and going on OnlyFans, which is a primarily sex worker driven website, she says it's definitely an interesting time in adult. It is becoming more understood, I would like to think. And this film can push that even further.
You and Tommy are sitting in Mel's. At that point, are you kind of discussing the topics that are going to be in the documentary?
Oh, it with documentary, there's no script, and it took us in different directions. This one, I think, number two, number three, number four, we want to do 10. We'll have more pre-production time, but this was very leave it up to the universe, leave it up to the
Right.
gods of documentary to send us everything that we need to tell this story, and then it was all put together in the edit.
In the edit room, is that where you guys came up with the segments? You kind of have an
Yeah.
idea when you went into the questions? Like, how did all that?
There were certain questions that we had that topics we wanted to push on. There's a whole section about health and how people think that, oh, they party and because they do what they do, it's more so than any other industry. No, it's not. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Again, that they look after themselves. And Alexis Fox says she treats herself like an athlete. And so, because she wants to, feel good and look good. So she eats right, takes, plenty of exercise and looks fantastic, and feels great as well. And that's, an inspiration for other people to do the same, live by the work ethics. Alexis Texas has done a lot of work on herself, um, to be the stronger person that she has become. I went on set, okay, and at first when you go on set, you're like, oh my God, this is cool. People are naked. Yeah, it looks good from the other side. It looks good, like, Tommy's living this life and he gets to, they see and they
Right.
perceive, but that's not true. And everybody, in anything that you do, there's difficulties and struggles. And this is one thing that Tommy does highlight.
Right.
Uh, but people say, "Oh, boo hoo hoo! You lucky you get to have sex with all these women and they pay you for it." Um, yeah, that's kind of there, but I mean, there's a whole section on male performers. It's not an easy job, and there's not many of them that can do it. There, then I had a brilliant edit producer who took my work and threw it up in the air, and then it all
Right.
came down, and then
Right.
just rearranged a few things, and that's when we added my studio part and voiceover, which
Yeah.
helps the viewer through the journey that we went on here.
Did you come up with the idea for the thing with Tommy at the end? That montage? Did your editor come up with that? Was that intended
That
all
was
the
me. Yeah,
time?
I came up with the idea because when you edit, you get to hear so many things. And I heard every time I hear something, I did it. I took it from another film I did. I did another documentary, and I had this kind of ending to it, this inspirational part that closes the film. And so I wanted to kind of replicate that, but and so things I heard Tommy say throughout all of the things. I would just note them down, and then I would add and craft it, write it in such a way, and then he would leave him to do the recording, and then lay it down and put over, and thought that would be a nice way to end. And of course, there's something Tommy says at the beginning, and then we'd close with, which was quite important to him, and I thought it was quite lovely. Is that to all of those performers that have come before us, you are gone but not forgotten. But it's not really just the performers, it's to everybody that has come before us. They paved the way. And we do end the film in memory of those who have come before us. The response has been overwhelmingly positive, from people watching, from industry. The industry is amazing. The response to this and the way that they're getting behind it, I just really want to say thank you to them for doing that, and may it continue.
You and Tommy watched the final cut. What's your impression? What's Tommy's reaction?
We love hearing the feedback from people who watch it, because we can watch something and think, okay, that's great, and I certainly must have watched it 10,000 times. I've lived and breathed it. But hearing the feedback from others and that it brings them to tears is like, wow, we're really hitting the right note here. Marcus London is speaking about it all the time on social media, how it is the best documentary representation of the business that he loves being a part of. And that for us is that's gold. That's the fact that we've been able to do something that is really giving back and giving people something to really enjoy and be proud of, which they should be. That for us was just wonderful. But we are, definitely very proud of it. And then sometimes you do look back and you think, did I do that? There's kind of like a disbelief, and it's in a way, it's like, that is why I say I think it's a miracle that anything gets made. But people see the awards. I think Jimmy Carr said something recently. He's a British comedian, and he said this, and it was quite interesting, because people didn't see me doing the months of editing alone. It's quite a lonely job until you get to over a certain point, and but people see the success. They see that we're getting 1 million views on the trailer, on Instagram and things like that. And Jimmy Carr, he said, everyone is jealous of what you got, but no one is jealous of how you got there. And everyone sees the trophies, no one sees the training. So, yeah, we're proud of it because it took so much to deliver that to the screen.
For you, what is the reality of this business versus what people think it is?
The reality of the business is, and I'm speaking for the mainstream, what I would call it, the top of, is that it's the opposite of what people think. It's incredibly professional. It's very regulated, and and these people, from what I see, a lot of the people that I've spoken to enjoy what they do.
Your website, social media stuff, for the people can find out more info on the project. Amazon, obviously, but
yeah, it's on Amazon. We've got a lot of press on it, but if they follow myself and Tommy on Instagram, my handle is at Joel Van der Molen 22. Then they can catch up with all of the latest information. And we do have a web page where people can enter their email address to be updated. So when it's coming available in different territories, at the moment it's on Amazon Prime US and UK, but it's coming out on Apple TV and YouTube movies and TVs. So it will be everywhere. We've been getting a lot of messages from people in Canada not being able to watch it, but that is coming soon. It's probably going to come on Apple TV first in Canada, and then it will be on Amazon, and it will spread. YouTube, for example, has 2.7 billion active viewers a week, so this is going to help to push it further, so everyone will be able to watch it wherever they are, because I think these people are famous in all corners of the planet. We're making a documentary about adult entertainment. For decades, it's been called taboo, dirty, and even destructive. But is the porn industry really as bad and evil as so many people still believe? To help me navigate this journey is one of the industry's most recognizable faces, Tommy Gunn.
My childhood was wonderful. Did I ever think, I'm going to do that job? Never.
Our expo in Las Vegas, that's the porno Super Bowl, pretty much. The sex trade has been stigmatized for all of the ages.
This whole documentary is about us as people.
This is our profession and we take pride in it.
It's wild, people's perception.
Somebody might say, oh, how tough can it be? You know, you get to have sex with all these beautiful women and they pay you for it. Boo hoo hoo, right?
The emphasis was not on the sex in those movies. It was more on the story.
We never stopped where mainstream stops.
What people think about porn stars is nothing like what they're actually like.
Because it's just one big orgy, and I'm like, wouldn't that all be nice?
It's not adult education, it's adult entertainment.
You don't learn how to drive a car by watching The Fast and the Furious.
The public is a lot more accepting of porn now. Game of Thrones, there was full frontal nudity in that thing. No different than what we're doing. Well, maybe a little different, yeah.